Tonight, West Coast rookie Tony Alango faces his fate in court.
The alleged victims in the trial of a former high-ranking Navy officer give evidence.
A police officer who admitted to punching another woman found not guilty.
The rally in Parliament over Arafura Games costings continues.
And performers prepare to take over the city for Darwin Festival number 40.
This is 9 News Darwin.
Good evening. They'd set out for a leisurely whale-watching trip, but it turned into a major ocean emergency. Their boat exploding into flames out to sea off the Gold Coast.
8 people, including international tourists, were rescued thanks to a quick-thinking skipper.
A fireball 7 kilometres out to sea. The Renee, a 17-metre-long luxury catamaran, devoured by flames, igniting a full-scale rescue operation. Clambering from their dinghy into a police boat, 2 teenagers and 6 adults, some German tourists. They'd headed out for the day to go whale watching.
Certainly could have ended in tragedy.
The skipper had heard a bang below deck, rushing down to the engine room.
At that time, he's opened up the switchboard. It is immediately combusted and a fire has broken out.
He immediately got everyone onto a dinghy away from danger, making a distress call as petrol tanks exploded.
Boat well and truly alight out there.
A black tower of smoke rising across the Gold Coast skyline.
Never seen anything like that before.
Escaping the carnage, the group were ferried back to land in one piece. Thankfully, none of the group suffered any major injuries. Because the boat was equipped with that dinghy, the skipper was able to execute a textbook evacuation.
I think the skipper and all persons on that vessel have done very well.
The Renee, what's left of her, now resting on the bottom of the ocean.
Anti-Adani protesters have been arrested after taking over the foyer of a company contracted to the mega mine. It came as 27 activists who brought city traffic to a standstill in Brisbane yesterday were dealt with in court.
Arrested but applauded. 30 protesters took over the foyer of GHD's Brisbane offices this afternoon. Their gripe, the company has a contract with the Adani mine. Smiles even from the back of a paddy wagon. All up, 10 were arrested.
They chose to get arrested, so they're doing what they think is necessary.
As they were being taken to the watch house, 27 Extinction Rebellion climate change activists who disrupted traffic in Brisbane CBD yesterday were being released.
I'm free.
19 pleaded guilty. 8 will fight the charges.
I take no personal pleasure from inconveniencing people who are stuck in traffic. However, extinction is the largest inconvenience and threat that we face.
The harshest punishment was 90 hours of community service for serial offender Eric Herbert, who's been before the court 6 times recently. Others were fined between $300 and $800 or received good behaviour bonds.
I do apologise for, disrupting the peace, but something has to be done.
Many voiced their climate change concerns inside court, but the magistrate made it clear she was not there for moral judgment, only to administer the law. All of the protesters voluntarily spent the night in the watch house because they refused to sign their bail, which the court heard was a massive strain on public resources. They're already organising the next event in October.
We are peaceful, non-violent protesters. We're going to continue doing this. We're not hardened criminals.
Tessa Hardy, 9 News.
DFAT has raised its travel warning for Hong Kong, with Australians warned to exercise a high degree of caution. Tourists have been told there is a risk of violent confrontation between police and protesters. China says Hong Kong is facing its worst crisis since its return to Chinese rule in 1997.
Now to video exclusively obtained by 9 News of the moment a police pursuit comes to a crashing halt. What you're about to see is a car chase through the eyes of a criminal on the run.
This is the view from inside a stolen car, speeding down Discovery Drive at Helensvale with a thief at the wheel and police on his tail. The car's dash cam is recording as he approaches a roundabout way too fast. Losing control, screaming sirens close, officers even closer.
Close your hands, get your hands out, mate. Take that belt off now. Hands out!
With tasers drawn, police manoeuvre their suspect from the wreckage.
Right hand, take your seatbelt off. Right hand, take your seatbelt off.
It's definitely going to be on the news tonight.
Neighbours couldn't help but be drawn to the commotion.
Looks like there's been a roll, a crash.
Watching the spectacular end to a day on the run. The 36-year-old had been on the police radar since 6 this morning after trying to steal a motorcycle here at Surfers Paradise. Not long after, he tried to nab a jet ski and trailer.
This guy here hopped out of this red car here, saying to the tow truck driver that that is his car.
It was taken from outside the Curtis Street Vets at Pimpama, while its owner worked inside.
Literally, the car was parked down on my block and I was doing some work and someone's just walked in and stolen the vehicle.
Before long, the chase was on, the driver veering off the road to overtake, first on the hard shoulder, then when police try to intercept, he takes to the footpath to continue his wild ride with a dangerous cargo on board.
Over 30 bottles of veterinary drugs.
Great escape didn't last long, the driver taken to hospital with cuts and bruises, but quite clearly he's fortunate to be alive at all.
And we're live to reporter Annie Puller. Annie, we saw the driver taken away by ambulance. Have police been able to speak with him?
Well, Sam, the driver is still in hospital. I spoke to staff just moments ago and they say he is awake in a stable condition under police guard. It's really just a matter of time now before detectives do catch up with this man over today's wild pursuit and several other offences. And when they do PT, I suspect he'll be facing a long list of charges.
Incredible vision in that story. Thank you, Annie Puller. Former West Coast Eagle rookie Tony Olango has avoided jail time after receiving a 7-month suspended sentence. He had been found guilty of assaulting another man at a Darwin house party just before he was drafted, as Nine's Zarisha Bradley explains.
Tony Olango was found guilty in June of punching another man at a Jingalee house party in 2017, fracturing his eye socket. The Crown today said he was provoked after being called a dickhead at the party while intoxicated and suggested he plays football. I'm sure he's used to being called much worse. He could have simply walked away. Supported by his mother, college principal and counsellor in court today, 7 references were handed to the judge supporting his otherwise exceptionally good character, a number from football managers. Counsel argued he was young when the events occurred, he has not reoffended and since lost the opportunity of a lifetime being delisted from the West Coast Eagles. Adding he now has insight into his conduct and is apologising for his behaviour. His plea of not guilty ruined his chance of a sentence discount. Mr Olango is now playing for East Perth Football Club and is hopeful of his career.
The Supreme Court has heard evidence in the trial of a former Navy commander accused of 8 acts of sexual indecency against 2 minors in the Northern Territory between 2006 and 2008. In a closed court today, the complainants gave evidence. Prosecutor Stephen Geary said one alleges they were indecently touched while sitting on the lap of the accused playing computer games. A Palmerston police officer accused of punching another woman at Wisdom Bar and Cafe after a boozy work Christmas party last year was today found not guilty of aggravated assault on the basis of self-defence. Judge John Neal told the court he was satisfied that Officer Deanna Mason feared she was being attacked.
The Arafura Games stole the spotlight again on the second day of parliamentary sittings. Politicians going back and forth in question time about the true cost of the event and whether the opposition would scrap the Games as it did when it was last in government.
Starting the day with a $10 million cash splash for Cullen Bay, the Territory government hoping the investment will green, cool and revitalise the area.
Some shaded areas for families to be able to sit and enjoy. There will be an elevated walkway through to the beach area as well.
Before heading in for a day of Parliament.
Importantly, The bill also implements one of the actions in the Towards Zero Road Safety Action Plan, which is to implement a blood alcohol concentration limit for supervising drivers.
But it was the Arafura Games which again became the focus after the Treasurer revealed on radio the cost of policing the event.
With the police, we did stand up Operation Whitewater. Whitewater came to $160,000. We had 160 police who were involved.
I presume this is on top of the 15,000 that they only declared at estimates.
It was followed by a rally in question time that would have impressed Games athletes.
Why won't you support events such as this that bring visitors to Darwin?
No, we won't scrap them. We just want to get the right figures.
Can you reveal the number of contracted and seconded employees for the 2019 Games to assist with them?
Great to have a question on the Arafura Games from the former Chief Minister, whom scrapped the Arafura Games, Madam Speaker.
Parliament continues tomorrow. Rosanna Kingson, 9 News.
Organisers of the Darwin Festival are putting the finishing touches to sites around the city ahead of the event kicking off tomorrow. But for those looking to get involved early, a fashion show will take place a little later tonight.
Lights, feathers and sequins. It's that time of the year again when Darwin Festival takes over the city.
We've got a massive program of circus, comedy, music and cabaret.
The 40th anniversary boasts nearly 90 ticketed acts showcasing performers from right around the world, the very first taking to the stage tomorrow night to kickstart the beginning of the magical 18-day event.
I put a spell on you.
Included in the festivities is the Darwin Aboriginal Arts Fair.
We'll welcome 70 remote community art centres that have come from every corner of Australia.
The Gorman and Munkajjar fashion show will open the fair tonight, while work from emerging and established artists will also be on display.
From the bark paintings of Arnhem Land right through to our canvas painting that the Central Desert and Western Desert artists made famous.
The Victoria Spiegel tent will also open its doors tomorrow, coming alive with a cheeky performance of Blanc de Blanc Encore. Blanc de Blanc first came to the Darwin Festival in 2017, but organisers say this year's performance is completely different and not for the kids.
We just hope the people of Darwin will get out there and get involved every single night. Sleep is for September.
Ellie Conway, 9 News.
Now for a look at the price of fuel in the top end. Darwin's average is hovering at that $38.6 mark. In the rural area, you will pay more than that, a lot more. $1.61.3 on average.
Queensland isn't prepared for a flu pandemic. That's the stark warning from one of the state's top clinicians. It comes as the latest figures show 83 people have died from the flu this year, with the pandemic not a question of if, but when.
It's been less than 24 hours since young mother of 3, Jacinta Foulds, died.
The last words I ever spoke to her, she told me she was sorry, that she loved me.
The 35-year-old fit and healthy just 2 weeks ago. Then she contracted influenza A.
She was so sick, and it all came from the flu.
At least 83 people have died from the flu so far this year in Queensland. Nearly 4,000 Queenslanders tested positive to influenza in the past week alone.
We've seen a lot of people requiring admission to hospital and a number of those requiring admission to intensive care.
Doctors say we're on track to equal, if not beat, our worst flu season on record. But if it were to turn into a pandemic, some experts believe Queensland may not cope.
I think Queensland is about as prepared or ill-prepared as any other community in Australia.
I can absolutely reassure the Queensland public that we have good, solid plans in place that we've actually tested.
More than 200,000 people died globally from the swine flu pandemic in 2009. While only a fraction of those deaths were here in Australia, experts claim the next strain could be a lot worse.
We know that it's just a matter of time. There's no guarantee that the next one will be as mild.
New research shows 60% of parents believe giving their child vitamins will prevent them catching a cold or flu. 54% avoid their child going to bed with wet hair. Shockingly, 13% believe antibiotics will help, when really the most effective method to keep you out of hospital is simply washing your hands. And get the flu shot, something Jacinta didn't.
if I can take my time back again and can even the slightest chance that this would not have happened to me and my family and my wife, mate, I would have jabbed us all.
Shannon Marshall McCormack, 9 News.
The FBI says the gunman who killed 3 people at a California food festival had a hit list of religious and political groups. US President Donald Trump is preparing to visit grieving communities in Texas and Ohio, where many say he's not welcome.
It was the shooting before the shootings. A 19-year-old opening fire at a garlic festival in California. Police today calling it an act of terrorism.
The FBI has opened a full domestic terrorism investigation into this mass shooting.
Santino Legan murdered 3 people before being killed by police. Authorities discovering a sinister hit list during their investigation.
These organizations from across the country include religious institutions, federal buildings, courthouses.
The news comes as Donald Trump prepares to visit the scene of 2 more massacres in Dayton and El Paso amidst growing criticism of his own language, echoed by the El Paso terrorist.
Mexico should step up and stop this onslaught, this invasion. Invasion! It's an invasion. It is an invasion, you know that.
From my perspective, he is not welcome here. He should not come here while we are in mourning.
Sentiments shared in Dayton.
He's made this bed and he's got a lie in it. His rhetoric has been painful for many in our community. I think that people should stand up and say they're not happy if they're not happy that he's coming.
It's unlikely Donald Trump will come face to face with any protesters here in El Paso. Instead, he says he'll meet with first responders and visit those still recovering in hospital. Local councillors say they'll hold a Mexican festival in the city as an act of defiance. In El Paso, Texas, Charles Croucher, 9 News.
The reputation of Australia's banks have taken a battering this year, and now their profits are copping it too. The Commonwealth Bank's full-year profit has plunged by $500 million, the price of making good with customers they ripped off.
$8.5 billion profit. It's still a big number, but it's been a bad year for the CBA, the worst in 6 years.
They're one-off items that we wouldn't expect going into future periods, but the economic environment is different, the context is different.
Now the job is to rebuild not just the bank's reputation, but also its profit.
They absolutely want to get this behind them and get on with business, get back to making profits.
Banks are also facing the headwind of a slowing housing market, with fewer new home loans being written.
For any customer who sees any asset, including the house in particular that they're living in, fall in value, that's of concern to them.
Around 1 in 30 Commonwealth Bank home loan customers is in negative equity. In other words, if forced to sell, they couldn't pay off their mortgage.
I do think there's some positive signs and stabilisation in the housing market, which is of course very important.
In recent times, the company sold off its interest in financial planning, funds management and insurance to get back to banking. But today it paid nearly $150 million to buy into a new business, Clamour, the Swedish rival of buy now, pay later service Afterpay, Australia's hottest company. The Commonwealth Bank is looking to move on.
Absolutely focused on legacy issues, fixing them and making sure they never happen again.
But there was a word of warning today from 2 of the men who fought hard for the Royal Commission.
I am confident they're going to get it right, but I don't share the same amount of confidence it's going to stay right.
Quite honestly, even with the best of intentions, it's like turning the Titanic. It does not turn on a sixpence.
Well, a few showers have passed over parts of the Queensland coast today. Nicole, what brought on the wet weather?
Well, Paul, a trough moved along the coast today, delivering showers from New South Wales up through southern Queensland. It'll move offshore tonight and we'll see temperatures becoming warm and dry ahead of a cold front moving through the country's southeast Friday morning. But by Friday, a colder air mass will begin to stretch up through South Queensland, with that wind flow pushing up all the way from Antarctica. And the Bureau's warning we could even see some sleet or snow over high terrain around the granite belt in the state's south. Before that cold front hits the coast, warmer, drier weather through southern Queensland will boost fire danger. Around the top end, fire danger ratings are staying high as well. I'll have more for you soon.
Still ahead in 9 News, Underworld widow Roberta Williams under arrest, the bizarre crime she's accused of.
New clues found at the banks of a river bringing Canadian police a step closer to the wanted killers.
Dog on a hot tin roof. The moment 3 schoolboys save a very confused pooch.
And Australia Post's push to raise the price of stamps.
The wild life and times of an underworld widow, Roberta Williams. From her attacks on us.
I'm going to turn.
To the sexy swimsuits, now sporting handcuffs after being arrested.
What do you know about that incident in Collingwood last month?
A current affair next.
The final 2 roos are revealed. Who will win the game-changing safe? Tonight, 7:30 on 9.
We ready? Yeah. See my bags. Don't forget you've got training straight after school.
Has anyone seen my math work?
Mum, James is being annoying. Are we ready to go, everybody?
Yes. I'd like to talk about moments.
Shotgun. Okay, pop your bags in.
They're happening all the time, and I love them.
James, can you please pick us up?
These things take time, Mum. Sometimes we miss them. It doesn't take much to notice them. You just got to pay attention. Bye!
Bella, library bag. Hey, I'm proud of you. Huh? Your laces.
My mum gets it.
At Subaru, every moment is a chance to do.
James, can you just pick us up?
Harvey Norman's built-in cooking display clearance from Miele. If you're looking to renovate or just upgrade, come in and experience Darwin's largest display of Miele appliances. Save up to 40% on selected Miele X-Display models. Strictly while stocks last at Harvey Norman Darwin.
Jack's wife Jill knows his birthday's just around the corner and needs to find the perfect gift.
Of course, NTF.
Jill knows they service all of the NT and stock all the big brands.
Power tools and fasteners to keep Jack busy.
NTF have it.
Safety equipment to keep Jack safe.
NTF have it.
Do you deliver?
NTF do. Jill made just one stop at NTF. Use the one account, save time and money. NTF, the construction suppliers and power tool specialists. Coolalingga and Berrima.
Canadian police have retrieved several items on the banks of the Manitoba River that are directly linked to 2 teenage murder suspects. No details have been given on what the items are, but they were discovered 9 kilometres from where their car was found burnt out near Gillam. An aluminium boat was also found last week.
A bizarre new chapter in the life and times of Roberta Williams, the underworld widow today pulled from her home in handcuffs. The 50-year-old is charged with kidnapping and threatening to kill a television producer, lashing out as she was led away.
First light on Roberta Williams' day is about to go belly up. Fraud and extortion squad detectives raid her home and the gangland widow is led out in cuffs with some choice words for our reporter. Williams was carted off to be questioned about the kidnapping and extortion of the producer of her proposed reality TV program.
But until you know me and see the real me, don't judge me.
The plan was for a 13-part series about Williams and her daughter Dakota living in the shadow of murdered drug trafficker Carl Williams.
So embarrassing.
What's embarrassing is that the producer, Ryan Nomenko, is alleging Williams and 5 others attacked him in a Collingwood building and demanded $17,000. This is what he told tonight's A Current Affair.
She beat me up, mate.
Police raided other nearby properties where the language wasn't getting any better.
Why don't you just take your camera and off?
Yeah, okay, mate.
2 men were also arrested in relation to the alleged plot. Up until now, Williams had been keeping a low profile, according to neighbours.
No idea, did we? We had no idea. No, we had no idea she lived there.
Williams can forget about her own show. She's been hit with a string of serious charges, including kidnapping and threats to kill. Reality, for Roberta, is looking decidedly grim. Mark Burrows, 9 News.
A curious pooch has wound up high and dry, stranded on the roof of a Melbourne home. The distressed dog's barking caught the attention of two schoolboys who climbed up with another man and wrangled the frightened pet to safety. It's thought it became trapped after scaling a construction site behind the house. A father's fight for life, his heartbreaking call to his wife to say goodbye after a horror farming accident. Tonight we bring you his incredible story of survival, fighting back against the odds. That must-watch report is coming up. But next in 9 News, dark new theories about who snatched William Tyrrell as the investigation's sacked lead detective keeps watch. Doctors who claim to have killed off the common cold. And a megastar's entourage, including 2 Australians, caught up in a fiery plane crash.
Inika's home hell.
I probably could have died.
Allegedly attacked by her neighbours with a baseball bat over a tree dispute. A current affair next.
Tomorrow on Today, Sex and the City creator Candice Bushnell discusses her new project, plus how to behave on public transport. The hard lessons all kids should know. And text to win. The code word for Thursday's mega cash giveaway is flower. For your chance to win $10,000, register with the code word now.
Hi, I'm Daniel Motlop. For me, it starts here. Growing up, I spent a lot of time playing football. From playing footy at school and on with the muck-mucks and off to the AFL. Now that my football career is over, I'm running a business and raising a family. I couldn't have done any of this without going to school. Everyone's got talent, but it's hard work, persistence, and going to school that'll help you achieve your goals.
It starts here, it starts now. Term 3 starts July 23.
The Fox and Rusty surf sale is on at the Darwin Showgrounds. Insane deals on Quicksilver, Fox, Rusty, Unit, Roxy, Rip Curl and more. A massive 40 to 80% off. Fox and Rusty surf sale on now Darwin Showgrounds. Be early.
Inspired to upgrade your slice of paradise? Come into Murray Oakley Discount Electrical Retrovision, Darwin's top-end cooking specialists, with the latest ASCO Elements range and other great brands. AEG, Smeg, Electrolux, Westinghouse, Beko, Blanco, Chef and more. And Murray Oakley Retrovision is Darwin's authorised Control 4 dealer for fully integrated home automation. Make your home the smartest on the block with Murray Oakley Discount Electrical Retrovision at 508 Stewart Highway in Winnellie.
The Holden Colorado MY19 is in run-out. Get a powerful Duramax diesel engine, delivering 500 Newton meters of torque, Duragrip traction control, a 1-ton payload with 3.5-ton towing capacity, and Apple CarPlay. Right now, get the Colorado LTZ Auto 4x4 with zero deposit and for $178 per week. Plus 3 years free scheduled servicing. All thanks to Holden Guaranteed Value. Future-proof the future at your Holden dealer today.
Delta is the best company in the battalion. Major Smith and stuff, as they say.
All units, prepare for enemy attack.
They're up against an entire battalion out there.
That's 700 or 800 men.
Stay strong, protect your mates. Your Delta company.
Television's most inspirational show. This time next year. Starts Monday, 8:40 after the block on 9.
A sneaky, complex stranger. That's how the person who took William Tyrrell has been described at the inquest into his disappearance. Watching on was William's family and Gary Jubilant, the lead detective now pulled off the case and out of the police force.
For William Tyrrell's biological mother, it was too much. Tears wiped from her face after hearing the 3-year-old in the Spider-Man suit was probably taken and driven away in a car in September 2014.
The offender in such crimes is a sneaky, complex offender who has hidden his or her desires for some time and has chosen to act on those desires.
As the inquest resumed today, a man not required to be there, but on the sidelines anyway, former lead investigator Gary Jubilant. He was in charge when police did a second search around the Kendall property last year.
Impassable lantana and thick logs.
Confirming William did not just wander off. Counsel assisting today said the offender was likely not a relative or acquaintance.
The present state of the evidence is that if William was murdered, and that's a big if, then it may be one of those rare 3% of cases
The court was told police are right now chasing active leads and believe they can solve what is the toughest of cases. It is possible some of the witnesses will have new information that will help them. Washing machine repairman Bill Spedding, neighbour Paul Savage and convicted pedophile Anthony Jones are among those who will give evidence over the next 3 weeks. Kelly Fedor, 9 News.
Forget oranges, garlic or chicken soup. There could be a more effective way to beat the common cold. Australian researchers are developing a new treatment to kill the virus before it takes hold.
It's that time of year. Winter and catching a cold often go hand in hand, knocking us around for days, if not weeks, and spreading through workplaces.
The common cold is a huge problem in our community.
But now researchers at the University of the Sunshine Coast are working on a way to get sick people back on their feet sooner, conducting a trial of a new nasal spray that aims to stop the common cold in its tracks.
This is a product that actually might kill the common cold virus.
Used 4 times a day for 5 days, the treatment aims to reduce the severity and duration of a cold.
So this works by getting rid of the virus faster. It stops it replicating in the nasal passages, which then leads to decreased symptoms, so less runny nose, less congestion, less sneezing, less feeling like rubbish.
The clinical trial is in its 3rd phase and has already been trialled on patients.
The evidence from the phase 1 and phase 2 clinical trials that have been used with this product are very, very promising.
What makes this spray different to others already on the market is that it kills the virus rather than alleviate symptoms. The researchers are looking for 100 people who are normally healthy that have developed a cold in the last 2 days. They must be aged between 18 and 65 to be involved in the trial.
Hopefully in the next year or 2 that we'll be able to see this product on the shelves.
For more details on the trial, head to 9news.com.au. Catherine Foran, 9 News.
A small business jet carrying the singer Pink's management team has crashed and burst into flames in Denmark. The 10 passengers on board the private Cessna included 2 Australians, one of them her manager Roger Davies from Sydney. No one was injured. The cause is unclear. Police have just suspended their search for an 81-year-old missing man whose ute was found bogged in bushland just kilometres from his home outside Brisbane. Maxwell Morrison was last seen at his Samford village on Monday afternoon. The grandfather, who has dementia and is an insulin-dependent diabetic, may have become disoriented while taking a different route home. His friends, family and authorities will resume their search at first light. Ahead in 9 News, the devastating mysteries binding 400 Queensland families together.
A loud bang sends crowds running in Times Square.
The story behind this awful image that has the world up in arms.
And a father's incredible survival after a shocking farm accident. Hear his inspirational story.
The wild life and times of an underworld widow, Roberta Williams, now sporting handcuffs after being arrested. A current affair next.
Ever wanted to build your dream home in Darwin's sought-after northern suburbs? The final release at Breezes Muirhead is a chance to buy into a safe and vibrant community. Breezes Muirhead offers a great tropical lifestyle with shops, hospital, university and beaches nearby. Lots ranging from family size to impressive residential acreage are now selling. Visit our land sales centre to find out how you can begin building the home you've always wanted.
Need help? I've got trouble with the whole staying in my own lane thing.
Well, Corolla comes with lane departure alert. It's part of Toyota Safety Sense. Oh, this way.
Toyotathon is on. Get the 2018 Corolla Hatch Ascent Sport with 2.9% finance. Search Toyota Value. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
The Basement 2.0. Premium group fitness classes, combining functional, circuit and HIIT training. The Basement 2.0. Competitive pricing with more new and motivating workouts every day. Get fit today with our amazing motivated instructors, awesome music and innovative workouts held indoors and outdoors. The Basement 2.0. Only at Fitness Works Cullen Bay. Why would you train anywhere else?
The 2019 Master Builders NT Excellence in Building and Construction Awards, celebrating the very best in the industry. Great company, food and entertainment at Mindle Beach Casino. Tickets on sale now.
If you're bored sitting in front of your TV, come into Quality Marine and check out our new range of CJ boats, packed with Suzuki Marine, the ultimate outboard motor. Browse through our air-conditioned showroom where our CJ and Suzuki Marine motor packages are on display. Have a play with our latest gadgets and get one step closer to getting on the water today. We even have finance available. So what are you waiting for? Come down to 10 Farrell Crescent, Winnelly with CJ and Suzuki Marine, the ultimate outboard motor.
Harvey Norman's built-in cooking display clearance from Miele. If you're looking to renovate or just upgrade, come in and experience Darwin's largest display of Miele appliances. Save up to 40% on selected Miele X-Display models. Strictly while stocks last at Harvey Norman Darwin.
Get ready to get down with the Little Shop 2 app. This year, unlock all your favourite minis into little dances. Scan Finish to see Doris dance up a storm. Or say hello to Happy and more. Download the new app now.
Your massive weekend of footy starts Thursday with a huge Queensland derby, Cowboys-Broncos. Then Friday, a do-or-die blockbuster, Panthers-Sharks. And Saturday, Bulldogs-Tigers. Glorious! Your weekend of footy starts Thursday, live on 9.
More than 400 Queensland families are holding out hope that a loved one will return to them safely. It's a pain they wouldn't wish on anyone. As part of National Missing Persons Week, police are appealing for help to find these Queenslanders.
These are the faces of the people missing in Queensland right now. Behind every face is a family waiting anxiously for their loved one to come home.
So it's 400 people's lives that are... we don't have a solution for their families and friends, and it's a tragic number. We don't want to talk about numbers. These are people's lives.
This is a pain that Mari Taylor lives with every day.
At the moment, there's nothing.
She reported her brother, Wayne Gillis, missing in 1997. Mari last saw Wayne here at the Sherwood train station that July. He then spoke to their father a few days later, but the family haven't heard from him since. 22 years later, they aren't expecting to find Wayne alive, but are desperate for any information that will bring them closure.
If there is anyone, I'd plead with them to let missing persons know.
The Missing Persons Unit deal with cases like Mari's every single day.
Well, in Queensland alone, we have an average 23 missing person reports taken by Queensland Police for a yearly total of 8,200 during 2018. So it's a large volume of work for the police.
Police are asking for your help.
If they're concerned about someone, make your own inquiries as to their welfare, stay in touch with them. If you're unable to make sure they're safe and well, please contact your local police.
Sophie Upcroft, 9 News.
A Texas police chief has apologised after 2 officers led a black man through the streets with a leash. The man was being detained for trespassing, and while it is a trained arrest technique, authorities say they should have waited for a patrol car. The visions outraged civil rights activists who say it evokes images of the slave trade.
A loud bang in busy Times Square has sent crowds running, Americans on edge after weeks of gun violence. People fled the tourist area screaming "shooter," with several pedestrians injured in the stampede. Turns out the sound was from a motorbike backfiring, police tweeting to reassure dozens of 911 callers that there was no gunman. And no backfiring here. Sophie Ryan's in with Sport. And Sophie, a rookie on board for the Brisbane Broncos.
That's right, Sam. Coach Anthony Seibold is sticking with his youth policy. I'll have more next. Plus, the massive ramifications of Saturday's Q-clash for the Lions. Ash Barty's trip to Canada remembered for all the wrong reasons. A 9 News exclusive with soccer superstar Robbie Fowler as he takes the reins at the Roar. And is Queensland golfer Cameron Smith considering a change of sport?
The final 2 roos are revealed. Who will win the Game Changers safe? Tonight, 7:30 on 9.
Free your SUV in the Ford Everest with a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty and up to 5 years free scheduled servicing across the 2019 model year range. Ford Everest, not just another SUV.
Regular or chicken salt?
Both.
Business owners, the BizSecure grant has changed. You may be eligible for up to $8,000 without any contribution of funds from you. Just ask Territory Technology Solutions. They use the latest in CCTV to help reduce your risk of break-in and theft. Their range of cameras include automatic number plate recognition, automatic face recognition, plus automatic target tracking, and remote access for viewing from any mobile device. The solution is just one phone call away. Territory Technology Solutions, Darwin and Alice Springs.
All roads lead to Alice as the ultimate festival of wheels returns this Father's Day at Red Centre Nats. Catch Australia's largest street parade or cruise the streets of Alice in your own beast. The biggest field of skid cars in Burnout Masters history, plus some heavy-hitting drag cars take on the quarter mile. This show cars, skid cars and the podium party featuring Hot Tub Time Machine. Don't miss Red Centre Nats August 30 to September 1. Head to redcentrenats.com.au for tickets and more.
They're coming. Michael Sim, Jack Wilson, Aaron Pike and defending champion Daniel Nisbet to the 2019 Tailor-Made Building Services Northern Territory PGA Championship, August 22nd to August 25th at the beautiful Palmerston Golf Course. Part of the ISPS Handa PGA Tour of Australasia, come and see world-class golfers battle for a share of the $150,000 prize purse. Come down, relax and enjoy the hospitality while you take in all the golfing action.
Madame Zar invites you to experience her Asian fusion restaurant. Enjoy exotic cocktails poolside and stylish dining with shared plates and signature dishes. Taste, share, feast. Madame Zar at Ridges, Palmerston.
Okay, the pasta is in, you make the sauce. Wait, what about the garlic? It's in the mince. What about the oregano? Right here, it's all in the mince.
Curtis Stone's seasoned mince, just $8.50, exclusive to Coles.
It's too easy for you guys. Ciao.
Inika's home hell.
I probably could have died.
Allegedly attacked by her neighbours with a baseball bat over a tree dispute. A current affair next.
This sports report brought to you by Harvey Norman, serving the Territory for 20 years. Shop online or in store.
Anthony Seibold admits a lack of experience has proven costly for the Broncos this season, but the coach is sticking with his youth policy ahead of tomorrow's Queensland derby by drafting in a rookie to replace the injured Alex Glenn.
In the lead-up to rodeos between the Broncos and Cowboys, both clubs are usually sitting a lot higher on the ladder.
We're nowhere near the potential that I see in the group.
A loss tomorrow night could be fatal for Brisbane's finals hopes, but the coach is taking a long-term approach.
If you look, at Olympians' preparation, they go from one Olympic Games to the next, and you acquire lots of experiences along the way. Well, this year's been an opportunity for our guys to acquire a lot of experience.
21-year-old centre Gemmet Shibasaki is a late addition to the Broncos side to face North Queensland, while Tom Dearden could return sooner than expected from his ankle injury.
Tommy, all going well, may be available to run again next week with the full group.
After a 7-week absence, Jai Arrow is back in the Titans side. The Gold Coast failed to win a game the entire time he was out injured.
All I want is the boys to, come out and show some effort and attitude that we can lead into the 2020 season and play good footy.
Adam Jackson, 9 News.
In the past, the Q Clash has been a battle of the wooden spoon, but Saturday's match will have massive ramifications on the Lions' hopes of securing a home qualifying final. Brisbane is equal first on points, but sit in third place on percentage.
Competition's so even, anyone can beat anyone on any given day, and if you don't turn up in the right mindset, then you probably get what you deserve.
Scans on captain Dane Zorko's hamstring came up all clear, but Fagan says the midfielder is no certainty to play.
The Aussie cricket side will be back in action tonight, taking on Worcestershire in a tour match ahead of the second Ashes test. Jofra Archer looks set to replace Jimmy Anderson in the England side for next week's match at Lords. The paceman impressing selectors by taking 6 wickets and scoring a century in an English county game. She probably wishes she was back home in Ipswich because Ash Barty's trip to Canada hasn't gone to plan. The Queenslander suffered a shock loss to Sonia Kennan in the second round of the Rogers Cup and is now in danger of surrendering her world #1 ranking. At least Ash didn't have a meltdown like Nick Kyrgios. Just days after winning over Washington fans, Nick was back to his bad old ways. The reason was the lack of plain white towels. Apparently, the ones provided on court weren't absorbent enough. Boomers coach Andre Lemanis hasn't looked too far from home in selecting Australia's World Cup squad. The Bullets boss, including Brisbane guards Cameron Glidden and Nathan Sophie in his 12-man roster. It wasn't an easy decision. Lemanis broke down in tears as he thanked the players who helped Australia qualify, only to miss selection.
They say playing in the green and gold was still the best thing that I did, you know. So they're all really thankful and grateful for the opportunities that they get, and that's just so, you know, I'm humbled, always humbled.
Australia's men's team has never medalled at a major international tournament. After a heartbreaking 2018 Bathurst campaign, David Reynolds says he's even more determined heading into this year's race. Reynolds led for much of last year's endurance before he was forced to retire with severe leg cramps.
I'm all about the story. And, you know, we won in 17, we lost it in 18, so to win it again this year would be just an incredible story.
The Bathurst 1000 begins on October 10. He's the biggest name to walk through the doors at the club, and tonight Robbie Fowler begins his Raw revolution. Brisbane take on Sydney FC in the FFA Cup, giving fans the first chance to judge if the Liverpool legend's appointment was the right one.
He's famous the world over for scoring goals like this.
What a moment for Robbie Fowler.
Now Fowler is making Brisbane his home.
Lovely part of the world, it really is. The football over here is a lot better than what people will give it credit.
While Fowler's main focus will be on the soccer field, he's hoping to build strong relationships with the city's premier football clubs, the Broncos and Lions.
I want to embrace everything here. You know, I want to get involved in all the codes. I want other codes to embrace us as well. And hopefully people will see that and give certainly the respect that, you know, we'd want as well.
It's not just football he's interested in either. The proud Englishman and his Aussie players will be keeping a close eye on the Ashes series being played in his homeland.
I'm hoping there's going to be lots of banter when we win it, and I'm going to keep quiet until we know the result. Then the banter will fly.
It's been over 5 years since the Raw has lifted silverware, with fans desperate for the club to return to the top.
I know people will say, oh, you're inexperienced or not, but it doesn't really matter. You know, you go out there, you do the best job you can. I've been learning the game for almost 40 years now. I want to bring the glory days, if you like, back to Brisbane. Obviously, that's my main aim.
It all starts tonight against Sydney. Tim Klingner, 9 News.
And we've seen him pitch with perfection from the edge of the green, and it turns out he's pretty handy from the baseball mound too. Queensland golfer Cameron Smith considered throwing down a leggy for the ceremonial first pitch at Citi Field, but instead stuck to tradition ahead of the Mets' Major League Baseball game against the Marlins. Cam tried to convince his social media followers he sent it down at 100 miles per hour. 4 Territory boys have been selected to test in front of AFL clubs at the 2019 State Combine and National Combine. The youngest of the Territory talent is just 17 years old.
The Northern Territory has a history of players making it to the Combine, and this year is no different. One by one, 4 of our best were given the chance to make it to the elite level. Kieran Parnell started off as a Thunder junior in Alice Springs before joining St Mary's in the NTFL.
Kieran's had a couple of years in the wilderness just trying to get his knee right after having 2 reconstructions, and he's come back really well this year and played consistent, and he got a Rising Star nomination in the NEFL this year.
Now he's making his fairy tale comeback.
2 years ago I wasn't actually able to test because I was injured, but I guess this year I'll get an opportunity to test, which is, I guess,
put my best foot forward.
Nigel Lockyer and 17-year-old Ben Jungfer have also been given a shot at the state combine, while Malcolm Roses has a chance at the national combine.
All the other boys, Mally Roses going to the national combine. He's had an exceptional year, playing in the 18s as well as the seniors. He's killed it. And Nigel Lockyer and Ben Jungfer, they obviously had reward for effort. They've had good seasons in their respective.
The combine assesses 5 elements: the 20-metre sprint, agility, yo-yo running and standing and running vertical jumps. Ellie Conway, 9 News.
The Territory's international BMX riders are turning their attention to domestic events after returning from the World Championships. The new 14 boys, world number 5, remaining humble about his performance.
Back on home soil and enjoying cooler temperatures after taking on the world's best BMX riders.
Overall, though, there was about 3,700 competitors from 55 countries.
Ian Orr and Jason Eason were the only Territory riders to qualify for this year's World Championships, which saw them travel to Zolder in Belgium to compete.
European tracks are a little different to ours. They're overall they look like BMX tracks, but they're shaped slightly different, so they're tougher to ride than our tracks are.
It's a lot different, like a lot lippier and deeper.
It was Jason Eason's 4th World Championship, competing this time in the over 50s category.
To the 8th finals, so down to the last 40-odd riders out of 75 in my class, and things didn't quite go my way in that, so that was where I bowed out.
The hard work paying off for Ian Orr and his family, returning home as the 14 boys world number 5.
Ian has been one of the most progressive riders in the country for quite a while, and to have 152 competitors over there in their backyard and finish with that result is fantastic.
Their attention now turns back to domestic events, including the NT titles, and if they do well, they may begin pushing their case for another run at Worlds next year. Rosanna Kingson, 9 News.
And that's the night in sport. Coming up, Nicole Rowles joins us and she'll have all your local weather details.
The wild life and times of an underworld widow, Roberta Williams, now sporting handcuffs after being arrested. A current affair next.
Let the Hunger Games begin. Hide and seek, game over. The Hunt, tonight on 9Gem.
Win a limited edition gold collector's case. Buy selected products from participating brands, scan your flybys for your chance to win one of 600 complete gold cases. Win a gold case with Little Shop 2. Terms and conditions apply.
The Holden Colorado MY19 is in run-out. Get a powerful Duramax diesel engine delivering 500 Newton meters of torque, Duragrip traction control, a 1-ton payload with 3.5-ton towing capacity, and Apple CarPlay. Right now, get the Colorado LTZ Auto 4x4 with 0 deposit and for $178 per week. Plus 3 years free scheduled servicing. All thanks to Holden Guaranteed Value. Future-proof the future at your Holden dealer today.
Beachside Sundays. On the lawns every Sunday in the drive from 3 p.m. Entry is free. Visit mindlebeachcasinoresort.com.au for details.
Inspired to upgrade your slice of paradise? Come into Murray Oakley Discount Electrical Retrovision, Darwin's top-end cooking specialists, with the latest ASCO Elements range and other great brands. AEG, Smeg, Electrolux, Westinghouse, Beko, Blanco, Chef and more. And Murray Oakley Retrovision is Darwin's authorised Control 4 dealer for fully integrated home automation. Make your home the smartest on the block with Murray Oakley Discount Electrical Retrovision at 508 Stewart Highway in Winnellie.
G'day. Hello. Stone the Crows. When do they build that new place?
You galah, that's been there for years. They've just put a new steel line roof on it, made from colour-bond steel.
Well, it looks great. That'll really increase its value.
Sure will.
Maybe I'll go a cottage green on top next year.
Steelline GRP, now supplying Enduroframe trusses and walls. For service over and above, see Steelline GRP.
Cooners.
Yes!
Kristen Bell.
Very exciting!
Bad Mums. Tonight, 8:40 on 9.
Good evening. Temperatures are warming up overnight with dew points on the rise. It got to 21 last night and humidity stayed around 50% today, reaching 89% around 6:30 this morning. Let's have a look at what's causing that spike in humidity. We're seeing a bit of a trough as well as a bit of an easterly wind flow moving across the top end, which is pushing up humidity a bit further south. We're seeing cooler, drier conditions as this high pressure system stretches in from Western Australia. Further south, a cold front is moving rapidly towards the southeastern corner of the state, delivering some pretty wild weather there in the days ahead, as well as some cooler temperatures which could push all the way up into southern Queensland. Possible snow for parts of the state's interior there. In our capital cities tomorrow, Sydney will be windy with a top of 21 degrees. A few showers for Canberra reaching 10 degrees through the day. Wet weather for Adelaide, Melbourne and Perth as well. 17 degrees in the west. Having a look at the top end tomorrow, a bit of early morning fog for some coastal areas with that humidity on the rise. For Nhulunbuy, a bit of cloud cover sticking around right through the day. Catherine reaching a very warm top of 35 degrees right across the top end. We will see some slightly higher levels of humidity right through the day, staying around 50%, much like today. Looking further south, some cooler temperatures, 29 the top in Tennant Creek. The mercury dipping to 6 overnight in the Alice and 3 in Yalara. Offshore winds will get up to 15 knots at times with seas to a metre. On to our catch of the day. 8-year-old Piper caught her first dewey in Bynoe Harbour. It measured up at a very impressive 80 centimetres. Well done, Piper. Back on shore for Palmerston tomorrow, still and sunny conditions with a top of 33 degrees. Early fog in the rural area, so make sure you're careful out on the roads. Winds picking up a little bit from the northeast through the day, keeping that humidity nice and high. For Darwin, looking pretty similar, that early morning fog. The temperature dipping a little bit to 19 degrees. In the days ahead, though, it will warm up and dew points will stay a bit higher right through into the weekend. Sam and Paul, that's the weather. I'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks, Nicole. It's the phone call no wife ever wants to receive. Her husband telling her he's had an accident and may not be coming home.
But one Queensland dad with an incredible will to live is beating the odds. His story of survival is just so inspiring.
That's it.
A heartwarming show of muscle might. Father of 5, Gavin Bokel, relishing a workout with his young daughter Azura. He never thought he'd be sitting up again, let alone smiling.
We've had some real dark moments.
Just over 2 months ago, Gavin truly believed he would die on a farm west of Brisbane. The bottom half of his body pinned down by a grain crusher. He was trapped. Chilling 000 calls reveal the desperation.
Oh, we've got someone caught in the mixer.
Okay.
He snapped his ankles, I think. Bones are broken.
Okay.
Not good.
Is he awake?
Yes, he's
breathing.
I lost at least one leg, probably the other one as well.
Before he went into a coma, Gavin somehow managed to call his wife Rochelle to say goodbye, thanking her for being the mother of his children.
He basically said goodbye, I'm not coming home. So that was hard.
But do you remember making the phone call on the day?
It was pretty hard, but I knew I had to do it.
In a touch-and-go operation, it took emergency workers 3 hours to free Gavin before he was airlifted to the Princess Alexandra Hospital in the fight for his life. Doctors saving one of his legs, but not the other.
Soft tissue injuries, and he had lost a lot of blood, so his injuries were very severe.
But this dad's positive attitude has amazed everyone, driven to push through gruelling rehab to get his family back to normal.
How hard is it?
It's quite hard.
Yeah.
Basic things that I did before is really hard, like 100%.
You got good inspiration though when you see.
Yes, got my little one at the other end, yes.
It is a long road ahead. In the meantime, the local Scenic Rim community of Colleyville has rallied, setting up a GoFundMe page to help the family's travel expenses.
You have to look to the future because you will walk again.
Oh, for sure.
He's got 3 girls to walk down the aisle yet, so he'll walk.
Guarantee it.
Melissa Downs, 9 News.
Inspiring stuff. Well, snail mail might not be so popular these days, but with the aim of keeping it going, Australia Post is hoping to lift the price of a stamp from $1 to $1.10. The hike will help keep post offices open and posties on our streets, particularly in regional and rural areas. The 60-cent concession still applies for pensioners and veterans, and 65-cent seasonal greeting card stamps will remain.
I'm sure it won't stop all your fans from writing to you, Paul.
Am I on your list?
That's 9 News for this Wednesday. Thanks for joining us.
From all of the team, good night.
Good night.